The night she disappeared, nobody in the entire county slept. Not when it was his daughter. Lena, the only child of the Iron Serpent's biker club's feared yet deeply respected president, Morgan Steele Warren. And when the word spread that a desperate drug dealer had kidnapped her, the roar of engines shook the earth. Dozens of bikes. One mission. One message. You don't take a biker's daughter and live to talk about it. But none of them knew how far this rescue would push every man in the club, or the secret Lena would reveal at the end. The secret that would change all their lives forever. Lena Warren always believed her father's world was something she would never understand. Loud bikes, leather cuts, dangerous alliances, and the type of brotherhood born only from blood and war. Morgan, the Iron Serpent's president, raised her far from the darker edges of that life. He wanted her safe, sheltered, protected from the violence that shaped him. But danger doesn't send warnings. It came for her the moment she stepped out of the community center after volunteering her usual Saturday shift. She didn't see the man leaning against the van, didn't hear him whisper her name until it was too late. His name was Del Rey, a small-time meth dealer who had gotten himself tangled with the wrong people. And the only way to buy his life back was by selling someone else's. Someone important. Someone whose disappearance would shake the ground. When she didn't come home by 8 p.m., Morgan's heart tightened. By 8:30, his hands trembled. By 9, the Iron Serpents were standing in the meeting hall. Every single man present without even being called. These weren't just bikers. These were men who fought wars together, buried brothers together, and lived by a single code. Family is everything. Morgan stood in the center, his jaw tight enough to crack. Someone took my daughter, he said. That means someone declared war. No yelling. No panic. Just a silence so heavy it shook the walls. The brothers roared to action. Bikes thundered across the town, searching alleys, bars, gas stations. Steele's best tracker, Jace, found the first clue, Lena's bracelet lying in the dirt behind the community center. Then security footage. A van. A blurred face. But Jace recognized him instantly. Del Rey. That worthless dealer. He's dead already. He just doesn't know it. Morgan felt something old and dangerous rising inside him. He had buried that version of himself years ago for his daughter's sake. But now, nothing mattered except getting her back. The club tracked the dealer's van to the outskirts, an abandoned lumber yard, silent under the moon. As they approached, every man killed his engine at the same time. The sudden silence felt like the world was holding its breath. Inside one of the old wood mills, tied to a metal chair, bruised but conscious, was Lena. Her eyes widened when she saw the silhouettes outside the broken windows. She didn't know which sound came first, the shattering glass or the thunder of boots as the Iron Serpents stormed inside like a flood. Del Rey grabbed her by the hair, pressing a knife to her cheek. Back OFF, he screamed. Or I. He never finished. Morgan's fist hit him with a force that could have cracked bone through stone. Two bikers grabbed Lena, cutting the ropes instantly. She fell into her father's arms, shaking, crying into his leather vest. You came for me, she whispered. Morgan held her tighter, his voice breaking for the first time in years. I'd burn the whole world to find you. But the night wasn't over yet. Outside, headlights flashed, 3 black SUVs pulling up fast. Del Rey wasn't working alone. He had sold her to a cartel faction desperate for leverage. The bikers braced themselves. Morgan kissed the top of Lena's head. Get her behind cover, he whispered. This was no longer a rescue. This was a war. And the night was just beginning. The SUVs stopped abruptly, doors slamming open as armed men stepped out. The leader, Alvarez, smiled like a man who believed he already won. Hand her over, he said calmly. Or we take her by force. Morgan didn't move. Didn't blink. She's not leaving with you, he said. Not today. Not ever. Alvarez chuckled. You bikers think you're savages. But we run a business. And she. Morgan raised his hand before Alvarez could finish. The motion was simple, barely noticeable. But every Iron Serpent knew what it meant. No talking. No negotiating. Only action. The fight exploded into motion. Bikers outnumbered the cartel, but the cartel had guns. Still, something far more dangerous than bullets filled the lumber yard. Brothers who refused to let a young girl be taken again. Tyrone, the quiet giant of the group, used a fallen metal beam as a shield while dragging Lena farther behind the loading dock. Jace and Wolf flanked the SUVs, moving with the precision of men who had lived through worse nights in far worse places. Engines revved as bikers used their motorcycles as mobile barricades, advancing inch by inch. Morgan fought like a man burning from the inside, each punch fueled by fear, rage, and love. He slammed Alvarez against the hood of the SUV, his voice low and deadly. "You picked the wrong family." The cartel retreated after losing ground fast. Their leader stumbled back into the last SUV, shouting for his men. But before he could escape, Steele stepped in front of the vehicle. He didn't raise a weapon. He didn't shout. He simply stood there, eyes locked with Alvarez's, until the man realized something. He would never win this fight. The SUV reversed, tearing away from the lumber yard. It was over. When the dust settled, the brothers gathered around Lena. She was shaken, her voice trembling as she looked at the men who stood bleeding, bruised, yet unbroken. "I thought you were just bikers," she whispered. "But you're more than that." Morgan knelt beside her. "We're not perfect, Lena. We've done things we regret. But this club, this family, we never let our own fall." She nodded, tears streaming down. "Dad, there's something I need to tell you." He frowned. "What is it, sweetheart?" She took a shaky breath. "I wasn't kidnapped because of you," she said softly. "I was helping the center kids, and I caught Del Rey selling drugs to a 14-year-old boy. I tried to stop him. That's why he took me." Morgan froze. Lena wasn't just innocent. She was brave, braver than he ever realized. "You did the right thing," he whispered. "You stood up for someone who couldn't defend themselves." She looked up at him, her voice cracking. "Just like you did for me." The brothers helped her to her feet. The sun was rising now, soft golden light cutting through the broken roof and landing across their faces. Engines rumbled as the iron serpents formed a protective line around her. Not as bikers, not as outlaws, but as guardians, as family. And when Morgan lifted his daughter onto the back of his bike, he whispered 4 words she would never forget. "You're one of us."